whoever that Messiah is epitomizes perfection. We're not perfect. We're not supposed to be perfect. But that doesn't mean we can't wrestle with it. So thank you for that. Is there? Yeah.
Yeah, when someone is considered humble, it's usually because of the way that they compare themselves to other people. Like, oh, I'm not that great, there's somebody else that's better. So who does God compare himself to make himself humble himself?
That's a good question. The examples that I am most familiar with are, well, if you take even just the example of arguing with Moses, it's the Jewish people, or a few individual Jewish people. So it's humanity that God will not that God necessarily is saying, I am equal to you, but there are times when God is willing to say, okay, I hear you, you've got a point. And that's humility from a godly point of view.
We are in very anthropomorphic territory.
We're very anthropomorphic.
Yeah, it's like I think God wrestles with his creation. It's not just it's everything. It's the world, and it's the Torah is all about that kind of finding peace.
It's like parenting in a way.
It's like parenting.
It's learning how you got to be the boss with your kids, but on the other hand, there are times when parenting can be a very humbling experience.
Our kids teach us about life more than I think anything else does.
Right.
But I was thinking as you were talking, Rabbi, this idea of Baruch Hashem is like this too shall pass. And we usually, when something bad is going on, that's usually what we think this too shall pass. But the truth is that applies to when there's glory or there's power. That also shall pass. And it's only through the grace of God that we're able to move forward.
Very true.
There is the whole concept in our tradition of tzimtzum, that you have to retract in order to make room for others. Whether it's God doing this act of tzimtzum and retracting to put God's light into each of us, the idea of the divine spark within each of us, or as parents that we have to do tzimtzum to make room for our children and allow them to stand on their own. And that's certainly something that I struggle with sometimes. You want to do everything for your kids and make sure everything's okay all the time. But if you do that, if you don't surrender that control, your kids will never be able to stand on their own. And whether it's in business, the same thing in business, when we want to micromanage everybody in the office because we have an idea of how something needs to get done. We have the best ways of getting those things done. We need to do that act of tzimtzum to give others room to be part of that creative process in making things successful. It's again, that very difficult balance, but
it's what Martin Buber calls the I-thou relationship, which took me a very long time to fully understand. But people who are not humble live in a very I world. People who have no self-worth live in the thou or you world. The trick is trying to find that healthy balance where it's I and you, and really living in relationship. If you're really living in healthy relationship, you have room for another. And if you have that room, then you can strike that balance. But for all of us who are in relationship, and I think every single person in this room is in relationship with others, it's hard work. Hard work. But we'll do it. We can do it. Thank you guys. That was great. I appreciate all your